Hey, we're going to show you now. Remember, there's 5 things that you're going to show to a seller that's super relevant to move them from not ready. Because when you get to the house, most of these buying owners are not ready to list. And you want to change them in about 30 minutes. So once you've taken a tour of the property with the seller, what's going to happen is you're going to do a quick sit down. In that sit down, you're going to show them your LEAP record. By the way, this is the same document you're going to use when you are showing the loan officer your buyer presentation and your listing presentation and also if you're trying to list a corporation. Now, if you're listing more of a corporation than a buying owner, so to speak, or pitching a loan officer, we've actually got a 4-pager that looks a little bit more like this, where you got your information on it, what have you. But for now, this is just your 1-pager that you're going to be at the house. First one you showed them, if you remember, you're going to talk about Zillow and that there's a thing called hidden Zillow versus prominent Zillow. And again, 7,000 versus 74 on the different buttons there. That's the other video we already showed you. Now, this one here is about showing the seller what's called a move up list or a high probability list. The ideas I'm sharing with you, by the way, are ones where I was able to sell 100, 150 or so, even more houses per year, and people I've coached that have done 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, introducing an idea at a kitchen table that's very common sense oriented, and you could do it as well. So here's what it is. When I say high probability buyers, all right, this is, there you go. Where's my screen here? Here we go. Sorry about that. Here it is. If I said to you as a homeowner, let's say your house is for sale for $420,000 and you're buy owner. And my question for you is, as the owner, if somebody's selling a house first before they can buy yours, are they coming from 50,000, 100,000? Remember, you're 420 and somebody is trying to sell one first. Are they coming from 400 or are they coming from something lower in price? Now, most buy owners will say, about half the value. So if the house is $1 million, they may say somebody's coming from 500,000. If you run a report, if a buy owner is $1 million and you run 50 to 80% below them, 500,000 to 800,000. If the house is, 200,000, just go 50 to 80% of it and produce the report of the subject property. Well, in this case, you can see we have this list of properties that are within about 2 miles of the subject property. You're saying, okay, Brian, what's this for? This is an assignment you're going to give to the buy owner. This is one of those closing conversations you have with the buy owner on your first walkthrough there. When you share with them what I'm about to tell you, you're going to see some of the buy owners go, I'm not going to do it. I didn't want to do this much work. They look at their spouse or loved one and say, honey, I don't think we should try this. This is way too many agents are calling us. We're not getting enough buyers. There's safety concerns, letting strangers in the house. And while what Brian's is saying here is true, I don't think we want to do it. So with this, we call it the move up list, the high probability list. What this means is anybody on this list, Mr. and Mrs. Buy owner, they're moving. Well, how do I know? They're active. They're all for sale in the MLS. And as you can see here, we can see the address, we can see the names of people, we can see the price, see how long they've been in the market. The thing is, what are the odds they're looking for your property on what's called hidden Zillow? And again, you already showed them what hidden Zillow is. I walked you through it as well. You can see the map difference. If you were a buyer, which map would you shop on the properties that are for sale with realtors or people that are, here we go, or people that are selling by owner? You see the difference in the map, just huge difference. Now, the buy owner thinks their property was available to everybody. but it's not. Well, it is if you know how to find the more button. So what we want them to do is we want to give them, excuse me, we want to give them an assignment. All right. Here's what it is. Mr. and Mrs. Buy owner, you're trying to sell your property on your own without paying a fee. And sometimes to save the fee, you have to earn the fee. And these people are all moving. They're less than 2 miles away from you. My recommendation is you just send your flyer on your property. Do you have a flyer for the property? Well, then I'd make one up. And then send it to all these homeowners. My gosh, you have their address and they're moving. And most people move within less than 5 miles where they currently live. So as an agent, as you're presenting this report to the sellers, you want to pull something that actually produces like a full page. You don't have to have the owner's name on here. You can simply put the address and show all these active properties, show the days on the market, show the zip code. Give this, slide it across the table to the home seller and say, your buyer is probably on this page and they're moving right now. The question is, did they see your house already? Do they even know about your property? So again, you're not trying to list the buy owner. You're trying to build rapport with them and give them literal assignments that would be helpful to them. I've had in my career, I could probably count on one hand, how many how many buy owners, when I gave them this list, said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the mailing. And I said, well, you might consider firing your listing agent. Now, I'm kind of joking with them at that point because they're the listing agent. This is a great way to build rapport with the seller. And it's a real list that somebody on this could buy their property if they knew the buy owner was even for sale. Now, as a realtor, you might be saying, why would I want to help them? Because you want to build rapport. You also want to be able to test them in a way to see if they're going to do any of these things. I've had buy owners do these things. You start doing the mailings to people, and they still listed with us. Because if you hire me, Mr. and Mrs. Buy owner, my responsibility is to promote your property to the agents that have these listings. You're trying to go right to the homeowner, and you could do that if you want to, because you're not a realtor. So what I'm hoping you do as an agent is practice this presentation once you've created a move-up report like this. And again, 50% of the subject property's value up to maybe 80%. Print it out and then practice it facing them, not facing you. Do it again and again and again till you can't get it wrong. Same thing with the Zillow screen. Practice this again and again and again till you can't get it wrong. Don't practice it one time and say, no, I'm good to go. You won't get the job. If you're working with me, I'm trying to see if I can get you a listing a week. And I see agents who said they watched my videos, but they weren't getting listings. It's because the agent is weak. And my hope is that you'll practice this 20 times. And you're going, is it really that many? Well, what's at stake? Is the commission 10 grand on the property? What are you going to make if you get that listing? What are you going to make if you get a lifetime of referrals from these people? What if the seller becomes a buyer? There's a phrase that one of my personal gentleman who coached me back in the 80s, he said, most agents, the maximum they will do is the minimum they get away with. Well, hopefully that's not you. Hopefully you practice this again and again and again. That's another reason to work with loan officers, because you want to be able to say, can I show you what my program is? And so okay, that's it. I wanted to walk you through what it looks like to have a move-up report. It should generally be only 2 pages long, not more than that. You also don't want to have one that's just like 4 or 5 records. It's not that impressive, but if you show the criteria down here, how you determine that the property value and what this list is, it's a move-up list, people locally who we believe are moving up. Now, of course, some of them could be divorcing, relocating, it was rental property, but the odds are pretty high when you've got 50 records or so. One of these people is a buyer, is a match for their property. Your job is to explain to the seller what this is, and then excuse me, see if it changes their motivation to sell on their own. Because you're going to see a lot of these sellers are like, I don't think I want to do this. And then you joke with them a little bit saying, well, you might want to fire your listing agent because people aren't finding you on Hidden Zillow. And I mean, I've said that to people. You have to have high rapport with them. But if you practiced it again and again and again, it won't feel awkward. All right. Blessings. I hope this was helpful to you.